All right. Hello, people. So, talking about something that's really near and dear to my heart today, especially since it's World Mental Health Day. There are people with mood imbalances, emotional problems, not really able to regulate their, anger, depression, anxiety, all the way to mental health issues. And there's this assumption a lot of times that it's under their control. Like that's just their attitude, that's just who they are. But people don't realize it could be a lot deeper than that, but also very simple. And it's very near and dear to my heart because a lot of people don't go into this stuff. And that's because it could be as simple as vitamin and mineral imbalances. Yes, it could be really that simple. So this changed my life. It changed a lot of people's and patients' lives around me, that I made it a part and parcel of my practice that everyone coming in should at least get that test done because it will destroy people's relationships, their marriages, even their jobs because of this attitude or the mental emotional state they are and think it's just who they are. But they don't realize they actually had an imbalance, something so simple. Now, there's other actual physical health implications, but I wanted to harp on the mental health issues with it and just the mood imbalances because today's World Mental Health Day. So then you say, what am I talking about? I'll give you an example, just even me, right? Much younger, I've gone through some stuff in my life, including wanting to take my own life. And my moods were kind of off. Now, I had no idea I needed at least 100 milligrams of zinc every day. Now, even when people are sick with their immune health, there's nowhere you'll go to where they tell you you need 30, you probably need 30 or 60, but not 100. I needed 100 regularly. And this is part of the problem with the way we look at life and medicine these days is that one man's meat is another man's poison. What is your own meat? What is your poison? What do you need? So a lot of times we look at vitamins and minerals and there's this broad range that they think is normal for everybody. And we were all created not we're different. We're all different. There's different factions of people. And people actually do need varying amounts of these vitamins and minerals, depending on where you fall in. And we've gotten used to looking at everybody like they're the same. And it's not just based on ethnicity, no. Even within the ethnic groups, and people that have this going on are suffering. And people want to call it like a disorder. It's not a disorder. It's just that we haven't taken the time to actually look at these different groups of people differently and say, this is what you need, this is what you need, this is what you, it's just like the school system. Everyone's tested in the same linear fashion and expected to perform in the same linear fashion. Meanwhile, everyone's gifts, skills, and talents are completely different. It is the same thing with vitamins and minerals. Okay, so I'm an actual mastering brain chemistry practitioner, advanced level. I went that far because of how important it was. And there are certain vitamins and minerals that need to be balanced because I'll tell you how big this can be. People are diagnosed with all sorts of anxiety, depression, suicidal disorders, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, emotional, mental issues, including this goes into gut health, it goes into breast cancer. A simple copper imbalance, high levels of copper predisposes women to breast cancer. And that's not even checked on a regular basis. That blew my mind. This is not just a rare thing. I've seen it very commonly in my practice where people will go on for years. Their parents had breast cancer. She's had breast cancer, doing all she can with her food and her diet and still having recurrences. And I test them and the copper is high. And the therapy for that is so simple. Vitamins and minerals. You don't even need prescriptions for it, right? But on this level, I'm talking about, again, the mental and emotional health implications for people. That I have people coming in thinking, well, this is how I've always been. They've had divorces, they've had relationship issues, teenagers that can't control themselves, especially when they go through puberty, because copper and estrogen work hand in hand together. And this is the imbalance that they're going through. So I wanted to highlight that for people, that you look for someone who's trained, it's called the Walsh Institute, to help you if that is an issue, or get a free consultation and I will direct you, where you can go to help with this. Okay. And so there's some of these, they call it a disorder. I don't, but you can have a imbalance with what they call pyro. Okay. Where you produce a lot of pyrrole in your system and it drains your B6 and zinc levels. And that can have implications for anxiety. It can have implications for depression. It can have implications for a lot of bipolar people that are diagnosed will have this pyro imbalance in their bodies. Okay, Dr. Walsh done this over 30 years, went to psych institutes, juvenile detention centers with teenagers and young men, and used this vitamin mineral imbalances. And he was able to reduce the high suicide rates to almost like zero. Anger issues, over 90% reduction rates. So, I will geek out all day with science if you leave me, but I got to realize that the grandmother source of science is actually spirit and intuition, right? But science is still my thing. And so he has done the research, there's evidence. I've been doing it for years in my practice with people. And so things like that with pyro, you want to check for things like pyro as an issue. Then again, there's copper and zinc imbalances. Okay. Now, the thing about copper, I want people to really pay attention here, because this also has implications for people with even addictive personalities, whether it's to food, whether it's to alcohol, whether it's to relationship and looking for the next thrill out there because the dopamine system is kind of a little wonky. This plays into it. Okay. I'm going to make it simple so you can understand. There's a pathway that we have high copper levels, and it'll take the precursor and either make dopamine, which is your feel-good system, your reward system, or make adrenaline, epinephrine, which is your anxiety, stress-producing molecule. And a lot of people, when their copper gets high, they are going into making that adrenaline stress-producing. So they have the anxiety, they might be OCD, they might be perfectionist, there might be all these things coming from that. And then with the dopamine that's low, they're constantly trying to find a way to feel good in their relationship, and then they're blaming everything and everyone and not knowing that they just need to balance their copper and zinc levels. And no, not a regular docs or just regular medical school education does not teach this. I went into this specifically because I knew what it could do for me and for other people. Okay. And so these are things that you want to be very cognizant of, because copper levels, people will have, again, like I talked about, anger issues, chronic fatigue is another one that can show up. They can have thyroid issues, chronic infections with candida. People with high copper do not want to play with estrogen and birth control pills and IUDs. They're the ones that will kind of go a little, their bodies would not respond well to those things. Okay. And so yes, I talked about copper. I talked a little bit about zinc. I talked about the relationship with breast cancer and copper. Okay. And so again, World Mental Health Day. Yes, we want to breathe. Yes, we want to take time and give ourselves a mental health break. We want to do mental check-ins. We want to make sure our life creates space for ourselves. But there are times where there are things that you need help with that are actually beyond your control. And this is one of those situations that I will say that if you feel that, you've seen that in your family, you feel like people always have some kind of like emotional regulation issues in there going on, that you might want to check for these vitamin and mineral imbalances, because they will make a big deal for you. And then let's talk about some of the health implications, even with things like low zinc, immune health issues, gut health issues, brain health issues, hormone issues, especially for men, sperm production, testosterone levels, prostate health. They need a lot of zinc for those things. When it comes to copper, we already talked about the thyroid issues, things like candida can be a big deal over there. PMSing will also be an issue for people with copper imbalances. Okay. So I hope that created a little bit of awareness for you, and I've given you direction as to where to go to look for some practitioners that might be able to help you out with these situations. And then you can always call me, and I can always direct you in the right place, or you can work with me with that as well. Okay. Well, you all have a wonderful and a blessed day. All right. One love. Ashe.